Hi everyone, this is David. In the previous video, we set up a .NET development environment using NeoVim and the Windows terminal on a fresh installation of Windows 10 Professional. You'll find a link to that video in the description below. Now, in this video, we will continue from where we left off and we will set up debugging. More specifically, you'll be able to hit breakpoints, step through the code line by line, look at the objects that are loaded in memory and expand them and see their properties. And you will also be able to do something called REPL, read, evaluate, print, loop. Please note that I haven't tried configuring it for legacy applications, as in applications that are made for older versions of .NET. I've only tested this with .NET 6. As part of this video, we will also set up key bindings in a way that they match as closely as possible bindings you are already familiar with in Visual Studio. For example, F12 to go to definition, F5 to debug, F10 to step over, and so on. So I hope that this makes it a little bit easier for you to develop full stack .NET applications in NeoVim. Okay, so in the previous video, we used something called PowerShell profile to allow us to compile, run, and also put us in a preferred default location whenever we open the terminal. So before we get started, we need to comment out some code because it may overlap with what we are trying to do. So let's open the terminal and then edit the PowerShell profile using NeoVim. Now I'm going to comment out everything except the first line. Now let's save and exit NeoVim and exit the terminal as well. The next time we open the terminal, we should be back at our home directory. As you can see, we are now in their home directory. Now, let's open init.lua again. And let's remove async complete. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've been coding mostly in C# and I don't remember the reason why I removed this plugin. I think it might have been conflicting with other key bindings. I guess I could have done a better job at setting up my init.lua file, but in the end, I just removed it. I have nothing against that plugin, I just did it for the purposes of keeping the virtual machine consistent with my personal computer to make sure I get the exact same behavior and no surprises. Now, let's reopen NeoVim and run pack clean, then close NeoVim again, and this will remove the plugin. Now, as per the previous video, when we open nerdtree, or when we wanted to search for files or text using Telescope, we had to type colon to go into the command and then type the shortcut keys. Let me just do a quick demo. So I believe in the previous video we created a React demo. Yes, so cd React demo, NeoVim. Now, if I wanted to open nerdtree, I have to go colon and then nt. If I wanted to search for a file by text, I'll have to go colon ft and then do the search. But there is an easier way of doing this. Let me show you. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the last 3 lines in our init.lua file, which are these 3 here. And then I'm going to paste some new commands that I wrote. I'll show you. So now I don't need to type in semicolon anymore. I just need to type in nt, fn, or ft, and this will immediately do the things that I want to do, like toggle nerd tree and so on. Let me show you. So NT and then NT again, that will toggle nerd tree. Find by text, find by name. Okay, so with this video, not only do I want to demonstrate the coding and debugging capabilities of NeoVim, but I also want to demonstrate what can be done with the help of .NET's command line interface. So let's say that I want to create a small Hello World game using an open source framework such as MonoGame. Let's say that I want to make it cross-platform and that I want to have the logic written in only one place, like a core library project. Alright, so let's install the MonoGame templates first. So I did a little bit of preparation, so I'm going to copy paste this command. So I'm going to say I want to install these templates, MonoGame templates for C#. Enter. Now as you can see, it installed, MonoGame Android, Desktop GL, Windows DirectX, and the library. This is the core library, and this one is the previous version, the shared library. We want this one here for the common code. Alright, so let's create a folder called repos, and inside that folder let's create a folder called awesome game. Now I'm going to create an empty solution. Now let's create the MonoGame library project. So let me have a look at what we've got there. So .NET new MonoGame -- list. So we want this one here, mglib. So I'm going to say .NET new new mglib -n. So that's going to be the name of the project, of the library project, awesomegame-.core. Now this project was created, but the solution file is not aware of it, so let's fix that. .NET sln add. So I'm going to add a reference of that project to the solution, and now I'm going to add the MonoGame Windows DirectX project, which is this one here. Now why am I doing DirectX instead of OpenGL is because this is a Hyper-V virtual machine, and I had trouble with OpenGL, but I got it was working fine with DirectX, so that's why I'm using DirectX for this demo. So what I'll do is I'll go .NET new mg Windows DX awesome -game. So that's going to be the name of the project, awesomegame.mg Windows DX. Now before I make any code changes, I'm just going to verify that the Windows desktop project has been set up and can be run. So I'm going to do .NET build. Oh wait, no, first I need to add this project to the solution as well. So .NET sln add Windows DX. Alright, so now the solution file is aware of both the library project and the Windows DirectX project, and now I can build it. So .NET build. Alright, now let's run it. So that's the default background, and when I press escape it will exit the game. Now the last thing I want to do here is I want to make sure that the DirectX project is aware of the library project. So I'm going to do a .NET add So I want to add a reference to this guy. So I want this guy to have a reference to the core one. Yep. And let's compile. Alright, all good. Okay, so let's add more OmniSharp bindings to help us make some code changes to the solution. I'm just going to copy some code into the init.lua file that I prepared for this video. So the first thing I'm going to do, actually let's open a new tab here. And then vim local init.lua. Right, so these are the new bindings. So F12 for go to definition. This one is for renaming, Control RR, which is the same as Visual Studio. This one I'm just going to type in the word action, which is the equivalent of Control dot in Visual Studio to see, to get a drop down of what things we can do. This one is a format, Control K, Control D. Shift F12 means find usages. This one is to show the documentation, which is the same as Visual Studio. Find implementations, Control F12. And this one to show the parameters, the signature help. Normally in Visual Studio I do Control Shift Space. Unfortunately I couldn't set that up, so I just do the word param to help me look at that. This one, Control down and Control up with the arrow keys. It allows me to navigate from one method to another, to the one below, or properties as well. And this one is if I wanted to open the log, and check is if we wanted to do a global code check. Alright, so now I'm just gonna save this and close. Go back to the other tab. So we are in Awesome Game. So now let me demo that. So I'm gonna go to NeoVim and then toggle nerd tree, so NT, and then I'm gonna go to, let's just say, the Windows DirectX project. I'm gonna open game 1, this one in a new tab, so I'm gonna press T to open in a new tab. And now let's say I want to navigate, so Control down. This will take me down to where the color is defined. Should be somewhere here. So right here in cornflower blue, I'm gonna do Shift F12. Now, you notice that when we search for usages, there was a possibility that we could get multiple results. This is the reason why we are seeing this new window called Quick Fix, and within it you will see a list of results and you can navigate through them. For those of you who are not familiar with the Quick Fix window, you can open it, you can close it by doing :CCL. So if I do :CCL, that's gone, and I can open it again if I do :C open. So C open will also put your cursor in focus in that window so that you can use the up and down arrow keys to choose a buffer that you want to open, and then you can press enter to go to that particular buffer or result. So here we see that the first reference to cornflower blue is actually in the core library project, which is in game 1 C# file line 45. And then the other reference is in the Windows DX file, in the Windows DirectX project, sorry, in the game 1. So we actually have the game1.cs defined twice. We have it defined in the library project and in the DirectX project. So if I go down, if I stay on the first line on result number 1 and hit enter, it's gonna take me to that file, to that line. You can navigate in between buffers as well, so you can go to the next buffer or the previous buffer. So you can do :BN to go to the next buffer, and then you can do :BP to navigate to the previous buffer. You can also show a list of the buffers that are currently being used in NeoVim, so :ls to show me the list of buffers. However, you will notice that when you try to open a particular buffer, sometimes it might not work. Let's say right now we have buffer 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If I wanted to open, I don't know, buffer 6, I don't know if that's gonna work, so 6. Now, if it doesn't open it, if nothing happens, that means that that buffer is not available for a current tab. So you might need to go to another tab. So like if I go to the nerd3, so you know, this can get a little bit tricky when you have multiple tabs. Some people prefer to navigate using buffers, other people prefer to use tabs. I personally prefer to use tabs, but there's no right or wrong. So yeah, it can be a little bit tricky. One key that I use a lot is Control-6. Control-6. This is basically going to cycle through the buffers that I have available at the current tab. That's what I use. Now, let's say you have a bunch of buffers open and you are tired of cycling through them, Control-6, then you can actually run a command which is this one, :tab b all. If I hit enter now, if I have, let's say, 10 buffers available within this tab, and if I do this command and hit enter, it's actually going to turn each of those buffers into its own tab. So I'm going to have 9 or 10 new tabs open up on the screen, but I don't want to do that. Anyway, I don't have that many buffers, but I thought I'd bring this to your attention as well, make you aware of it if you're not aware. Alright, that's enough. Let's actually start debugging. So let's do ccl to dismiss the quick fix window. Now I want to give a shout out to this guy, to this article. Let me bring it up on the screen, because I was actually quite lost when I was trying to get started on debugging. So yeah, Aaron Boss, thank you for this article. It sort of helped me get a quick start. I believe this was written for the Mac, but it helped me understand. It helped me get started for Windows as well. So yeah, thanks. Now, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to install Netcore Debugger runtime. Well, it's the debugger for .NET Core runtime, which is in this URL. By the way, I'm putting the URLs in the description as well. So here, Netcore Debugger. Let's go to the releases here. We'll get the latest one, and I'm going to download this one, Win64. I'm gonna open it here, extract all, extract. Yep, and I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put it on my home directory. I'm gonna cut it, cut, and then users, David. I'm just gonna paste it here. Alright, now I'm going to install the debug adapter protocol plugin for NeoVim. Let me open that URL on the screen. Alright, so I'm gonna install two plugins. One is NeoVim DApp, which is what you have here on screen, and the next one is called NVim DApp UI. Let me open that up on the screen as well. DApp UI. Alright, so let's reopen NeoVim. Actually, let's close all of this. let's open NeoVim here, and I'm gonna copy paste these two plugins. Close. I'm gonna reopen it again, colon pack install, completed 2, 0 errors. Alright, now I want to open init Lua again because I have a bunch of configuration text that I need to copy and paste. I'm gonna put that at the end of the init Lua file. So copy, paste. Alright, so I'm creating a DAP variable, local variable, and then I'm gonna say it's gonna be an executable, and the location of the netcore debugger is in here, which is where this is my home directory. You will have to set your own, I hard coded mine, so you'll just have to change that location to wherever you put yours. And we have only one configuration at the moment, which is to launch the game. Yeah, so I'll just give it a name, and what it does is it goes to the path for the current working directory, and then it goes to bin debug.net 6.0, and then it's going to ask you to type in the name of the DLL file. I'll show you that later. Let me just keep going here. So we added more mappings here. We added F9 to set a breakpoint, toggle a breakpoint, sorry, F5 to run, Shift F5 to terminate, F10 to step over, F11 to step into, Shift F11 to step out, and then you can just type REPL to perform REPL actions, and that's it. So now let me just do a quick demo. So when I'm gonna save this. Now if I go back to the other tab where I have the game, I want to show you something. So awesome game Windows DX, I want to go to bin debug net, and then so that's the name of the DLL. It's gonna be awesome game MG Windows DX DLL. Yeah, I'm gonna copy that. Now if I go back a few times, if I go about 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 1, 2, 3, yeah, and then if I do NeoVim here, and then if I go to program.cs, and let's say I want to run it, so when I press F5, it's gonna ask me for the name, so I'm just gonna hit Ctrl V to paste the file, and you can see that I pasted that at the bottom, and then when I hit enter, it's going to run the game. Well, it should run the game. Oh, it didn't run, it failed, something happened. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to demonstrate. What I wanted to show is that every time I press F5, I'm gonna be prompted to type in this name, the DLL file, and I don't want to have to type that in all the time. Yeah, so I'm just going to hard code it. So let me just go back out. Let me go back to the init.lua file, and I'm just gonna hard code it here. Right there. So I'm just, yeah, it's gonna be easier for me. Just gonna delete that, save. Now if I go back to the other one, so NVim, when I press F5, not found. What do you mean? Hang on. nerd3, open the app, wait for it to load. Okay, loaded server for blah 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 in 2.7 seconds. Now I'm gonna hit F5. Now it runs. Okay, cool. So yeah, so I can press F5 and I don't have to type anything. I just run. It will just run. The next thing that we need to do is we need to add the actual UI. So what we've added, the first plugin was to be able to connect to the debugger. The next configuration is going to be for the second plugin, which is the actual UI, how we want the UI to behave when we start the debugging session. So most of this code that I'm going to paste, a chunk of it I copied from that article, and another chunk I have to change it to match my computer. So if you copy, I'm going to put that as well in the, I'm going to put that, you'll be able to copy this code as well. So hopefully it works for you as well. It's been tweaked for Windows. So let me go back to NeoVim, go to the last line and paste it. So what do we have here? Alright, so I create a .UI variable and I called setup, and then there's a bunch of stuff that actually I probably won't be using. I had an error before and I reached out in the repo, in the issues, and they replied to me very quick within a day, telling me that I was using NeoVim 7 instead of NeoVim 8, so the UI will look different, and that I had to set a flag to false, which is this one here, enable false, and I put a comment here because I'm using NeoVim version 8. I'm not using NeoVim version 8, I'm using 7.2. So once I set this to false, then it worked for me, but I don't see these fancy icons on my debugger. A lot of this code is still new to me. So and what happens here is this is like a event listener. So whenever I start debugging, I open it. Whenever I am done debugging, then close the debugger user interface. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's just do a quick demo. So close, let's switch to the other tab. Now NVim. Now I'm gonna go to toggle nerd3. I want to open game 1, and then I'm going to put a breakpoint. Let's say I want to put a breakpoint here in load content. So F9 to toggle the breakpoint, and then I'm going to do F5 to start. So we can see that line here, it means it hit the breakpoint. I'm gonna do F10, and then F10, it goes to the next line. So now we can see that the sprite batch object is created. So now we have multiple windows here, right? So the one at the bottom in the middle, that's called the scratch window. Then on the bottom on the right, that's REPL. So if I do Control W, so I hold Control W and then use the arrow keys, whoops, I can then navigate. Oh no, I don't need to hold, sorry, I do Control W and then release and then the arrow keys. So Control W, yeah, Control W and then the arrow keys. So so right now, for example, I have the cursor on the bottom right window. If I press I to go in insert mode, I can type commands like sprite batch and enter, and it will tell me information about it. Now I don't know how I can set values. I tried setting values, changing values, and I couldn't do it, so that didn't work for me. The scratch window, this one here, I don't know what this one does. Still learning. Breakpoints, so I got one breakpoint so far, which is this one here. If you set multiple breakpoints, you're gonna see that list show up in there on the bottom left. The execution stack, I believe, is the one above. And I can also I know that I can expand the object, so I should have sprite batch here somewhere. Maybe this one here. Yeah, so I can expand the properties here and get into detail. And then if I wanted to terminate the process, so if I go back to this, so I'm back in the code, and then if I wanted to terminate the execution, I press Shift F5 and then that will end. The one thing is that I wanted to mention is that if I exit NeoVim and then come back, the code will not remember where I set the breakpoint, so I have to set it there again. So it will forget the breakpoints, unfortunately. There's another thing that I want to mention, which is attaching. I skip a few things actually. I was planning to do like a more detailed game, but I ended up deciding not to do it because the point of this video is not to, you know, how to make a game and how to link it all together and add the logic and all that stuff. So yeah, so I'm not gonna do that, but I do want to show you how you can attach to a running process. So when we go back to, let's close all of these. Let's go to the other tab. Let's open init Lua again. Now, currently, let me do a search. Launch. So we have this configuration, right? We can add another one. So I'm just going to copy that. And I'm going to call this one attach. And here, same. So the type of request is attach. The name is attached to awesome game. Now here is actually going to be a little bit different because we are not going to be looking for a DLL file or an executable. What we are going to be looking for is a process ID because it's an application that is already running. So what I need to do is I need to delete that. So I'm going to delete the program section. And instead, I'm going to add process ID. Actually, I don't think I have to delete the program one. I'll leave it there for now. I'm gonna go process ID equals function, and so it has to be in the function here, and I'm gonna say return vim function input, and then the title is gonna be process ID. So what's gonna happen is every time I attach, so what's gonna happen is when I press F5, I'm gonna get a menu. Do you want to launch it or do you want to attach it? And then if I do attach, then it's gonna ask me to enter the process ID. So hopefully this works. Let me okay, so I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna go to the other tab, and then I'm gonna do NVim nerd3. Oops, I want to go to the Windows DirectX one, game one, enter. Okay, that's fine. And then what I want to do is I want to put a breakpoint in the update, because by the time we attach, we already ran load and initialize. So I'll do it in update. Now, all right, so I'm gonna do F5, and it's gonna say, okay, do you want to launch it? So if I do launch, I do 1, enter. That's gonna launch the game, hopefully. No, I must have broken something because it was working before. Let me close this. Shift F5. Let me try again. I should be able to run it. Oh, hit the breakpoint, of course. So I'm gonna get rid of that breakpoint. F5 and run. Yep, okay. Escape. Now, if I try to attach it, it's not gonna do anything because I don't have it running. So let me just go. Let me just go to where the game is. So users, David, repos, awesome game, Windows DX, bin, debug, and then I'm gonna double click here. Now the game is running, and I'm gonna set a breakpoint here again, and now I'm gonna open the task manager, and then I'm going to look for the process ID. So where is the game? Right here. Alright, so I need to right click here, do PID, process ID. So the process ID is 4336. So I'm gonna, and every time I run it, I'm gonna get a different process ID. So 4336, so I'm gonna do F5. Then I'm gonna say I want to attach. So I'm gonna say 2 to attach. And the process ID is 4336, then enter. And boom, I hit the breakpoint. As you can see, I'm hitting the breakpoint. Then if I remove the breakpoint, run, the game will run. When I terminate the session, the game will stop. And you can do this for web applications as well. So let's say, for example, let's close everything. And then let's go back up a level, and I'm going to create a new website called my website. Then I go there, my website. Then I go .NET new MVC -- list. I want to see what's in there. So I'll create this one here. Yeah, so it's just this one. So I'll create .NET new MVC, and then if I do .NET run, hopefully it runs the new website. Yep. So it created on HTTPS and HTTP, so localhost 5058. So if I go to local host 5058 advanced, oh wait, no, I don't want to do HTTPS. 5058. HTTP localhost 5058. What's happening? Advanced, yes, go. Okay, so there's the website. Now Control-C to shut it down. Now let's actually go in there with nerdtree. No, wait, let's go to ls, go to bin, debug, and then net. So it's my website.dll. So we have, that's the location of the DLL, right? I'm gonna copy, I'll leave it there, go back to the init.lua file, and I'm actually gonna make a new configuration here. So it's gonna be also attached. So I'm gonna copy that, and then I'm gonna go paste. This one is gonna be attach my website. Process ID, yep, and I want my website DLL. So let me just go back here. copy that. So then backslash, and then it's this one here, my website.dll. Now there's probably like a very quick way. There's probably a very quick way for me to replace this single backslash with double backslash, but I'll just do it manually. I'm sure some of you are be laughing at me. Haha, look at him. Do this thing one by one. Alright, cool. And hopefully this works. So save. Now, yeah, so I need to go back a few levels. Now I want to maybe go into the controller, home controller. Let's say in the privacy. So I want to put a, what happened? I want to go into the privacy one. So I want to put a breakpoint here. So whenever I open the privacy view, I want to hit a breakpoint right there. So let's run it. So I need to go back, and then I need to go to my website, and then bin debug.net, my website. So it's running. Localhost 5000. So I'm going to copy that. Then ooh. Maybe I need to do a .NET run. Let me just stop that. Let's open a new tab. So here, build, then .NET run. Okay. 5058. It should look prettier than that. Localhost 5058. That's better. So if I go to home, it loads very quick. Now I haven't attached to the process, so I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to go here. Now because I'm running from the terminal, it should be a child object there, my website. It's a child object of the terminal 1580. That's the process ID. So I go back to the code. Nope, this one. Press F5, and then I choose 3, option 3. And I already forgot the process ID. 1580 was it? Yeah, 1580. So 1580. Enter. Alright, I attached to it successfully. So when I click on privacy, it should be waiting, because it's waiting for me to hit the breakpoint. Yep. So I can go here, return view, F5, and we have the view. Go back to home. Privacy is waiting again because it's hitting the breakpoint. And again, I can do nothing. So what happened there? Let me see. Home, privacy. Yes. We hit the breakpoint, and then F5 to continue. Yep. Okay. That is pretty much it. All right. Thanks everyone. Have a good day. Bye.